On today's show, Cade Cunningham should be in MVP conversations, even though he got ejected from tonight's game. The Warriors go on a Warriors-esque run again. Locked on NBA Game Night right now.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
And welcome. You're Locked On NBA Game Night. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being in every day and making Locked On NBA your first listen and making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Joining me, as always, from Locked On Nuggets. What'd you see in the NBA tonight, Swipa?
A lot of really good basketball, man. Shout out to the NBA. They're doing this right. Detroit, Portland, Golden State Magic, Denver. Best offense ever so far versus the Utah Jazz. Man, everything's cooking up. Good NBA season.
Teams are cooking. Teams are having some good seasons, some not so good seasons. We'll break down every single game like we do every single night. We'll hear from our local experts. We'll talk about the Mavs, Pelicans. Pelicans going a little bit of a run right now. We'll talk about the Cavs. Cavs offense maybe comes back alive. You're talking about best offense in the league. They were close to that last year and have not been this year. Talk about the Warriors and their run against the Magic. But let's start here. Let's start with the Detroit Pistons, who get a win against the Blazers. And you'd look at the final score and you'd be like, Pistons get a win, 110, 102. You wouldn't think much of it, but the Pistons had a 21-point lead at the end of the third quarter, and the Blazers came all the way back, stormed all the way back, and took the lead in this one. Let's hear from Kuka Hill of Locked On Pistons on how the Pistons pulled this one out.
It's the Locked On Pistons podcast. Kuka Hill here. First thing, before we even talk about the win, can we please somehow, some way make it to where I don't have to stay up this long for a Pistons game? Even on Western road trips, we got to do something with the time. I don't know. We got to do something.
Gu is the youngest old person I've ever met, I think. He's always complaining about how he has to go to bed.
But I don't know if I want to call this a good win, a bad win. The Pistons were up at almost 30 at one point in the second half. And the Portland Trail Blazers fall all the way back in the fourth quarter to take a 1-point lead with around 2 minutes, 3 minutes left in this game. It was looking rough. Cade fouls out with around 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It looked like it was going to be pretty bad. But down the stretch, I saw Thompson with multiple key plays. Jalen Duren fighting his you-know-what off on the glass and making numerous key plays. Came through clutch for the Detroit Pistons. Their defense tightened up when they needed it most. And after going down 1 with around 3 minutes left in the game, they ended up winning this game by 8. I want to say it's a good win by being able to respond to falling behind after losing a big lead and without your leader to be composed and fight back and still be able to pull out the win. And then obviously you want to call it a bad win because you're up by almost 30 and you almost lost the game. So
just accept the win as it is, Ku. I mean, we're not that far removed from him having to cover a 28 loss in a row team, right? For the Pistons, though, this was a wild one where Cade got 4 fouls in the third quarter, some really silly ones early, and then he was taken out with his fifth. He was taken out of the game with his 5th foul. Checked back into the fourth quarter with 9:31 left. Not even a full minute later, he gets an offensive foul by pushing off on CD Sissoko, and he throws the ball in the stands, gets the technical, gets ejected. First of all, do you think Cade should have been ejected or should have gotten that 6th foul for the push off?
Well, if you throw the ball in the stands, that's an automatic ejection.
Well, it was done. But it was done. He had 6 by then. I mean, it was out.
Yeah, I mean, so it's tough because some of these fouls today were just kind of not ticky-tack, but the contact did not seem to be that it was being played out in the same way on both ends. So I understand Cade's frustrations. And when you're playing a certain way, and again, people don't watch Portland a lot. Portland's a pretty physical team. And if you're playing versus Portland, you're picking up a lot of fouls, and you don't feel like you're justified in getting those calls, I can absolutely understand why Cade would be frustrated because, again, getting that many foul calls in one quarter is that's crazy, especially as somebody of his caliber. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate. Obviously, they were still able to get the win, though. So ultimately, it didn't end up mattering all that much. But, yeah, that's definitely an interesting situation. I don't know the last time I've seen somebody pick up that many foul calls in one quarter before.
That was a tough one for him. It's hard for me to kick out a star player for a push-off foul, especially when Sissoko really sold it, like threw his body back and everything on that foul. And it was the Pistons were frustrated in this. I think Bickerstaff got a technical like a couple minutes before Cade's last foul because of an Asar Thompson foul that he challenged and then didn't get. I say Cade should be in the MVP conversation though, because they're in these close games all the time, this Pistons team, and they just find ways to close them out. They completely collapsed after Cade was out of the game, and then the Blazers came back and actually took a lead late in this fourth quarter, and the Pistons were able to pull it out. Jalen Duren has been awesome, but Cade, it feels like they're in these rock fights all the time, and he just pulls them out of some of these games.
Yeah, he's been great this year. This year, Cade Cunningham, right now, he is averaging 8.9 points per game. I think this is going into tonight. It's not been updated yet on NBA.com, but 8.9 points per game. He's shooting 52% from the field in the fourth quarter as well. That's only behind Donovan Mitchell at 9.4. And Shea
He only played a minute. He only played a minute in this fourth quarter, so it really would have messed up his average.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he's been one of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league all year. But shout out to Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, and SGA, Cade, and Tyrese Maxey. That fills out the top five. That's a lot of points to score in a quarter.
I mean, that's probably maybe the five best scorers this season, right?
Five of them, I would say. Austin Reeves is 6 too. Shout out Austin Reeves. He's also having another one of those crazy seasons this year.
Wild, absolutely wild. The Pistons though, they get another win. They just keep finding ways to win games. We're 29 games into the season. We're over a third of the way through the season. We're getting to Christmas, where a lot of people think the season starts.
Yep.
Are you believing in this Pistons team more than you did before?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason not to. Like, there's literally no reason not to. They have shooting. They have defense. They got wing defenders is what you need. The only thing they don't have is like a secondary playmaker ball handler that you love. I think Jaden Ivey is continuing to step into that the more he plays this year. I think Karis LeVert is also another really good option. So they got that. I think Javonte Green off the bench is a good player. Again, this is like a 9th, 10th man kind of guy, but he's still a good player. Dennis Jenkins has some really good moments this year. They have enough to contend to win the Eastern Conference, plus the fact that Jalen Duren had turned into one of the 10 best hitters in the NBA. He had 26 and 10 tonight. And, you're getting really consistent play out of him and Cade. I think they should be right around where the tier I have with the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference. I feel like for me, the Knicks would be my favorite today. They're older. They've been there before, been to the conference finals before. Brunson is certified playoff performer. Karl Anthony Towns has obviously been to the conference finals. He's had a lot of really good playoff moments over the years. And last year, I think they also just took a step, the Detroit Pistons did, as an organization, I think really running into that series with the Knicks. And maybe they probably should have been up 3-1 if the foul gets called and Tim Hardaway Jr. I've talked about this before. But, I just think that, like, Detroit's a really good team, man. I think they have a very good bench. I think J.B. Bickerstaff's a very good coach. I think Cade Cunningham is the kind of guard you want to have in the league that leads you to the playoffs. He's big. He can shoot. He also can drive. And he's a good enough defender to where you can use him in different schemes. Like, they have a lot, man. I don't think anybody should at this point still be skeptical of the Detroit Pistons.
It's just that secondary ball handler, like you said, just the one more player that can set anything up. In this fourth quarter, they scored without Cade, basically. Cade played exactly 59 seconds. 15 points. They had 1 assist. They went 0 for 7 from 3. That's like my big question about this team, is how they can create any kind of offense. But let's focus on the Blazers side of this, because Mike Richman was there and was able to give us the Blazers side of this.
The Blazers almost rallied back from down 21 to shock the Pistons, but a 22-4 spurt to open the fourth quarter wasn't enough. I'm Mike Richman, host of Locked On Blazers, and for most of the night, the Blazers were not good enough to be in this game and were overmatched. But they outscored the Pistons 22-4 to open the fourth quarter. Cade Cunningham had one of the dumbest third quarters with 5 fouls, and then fouled out with 8:30 left to go in the game, and the Blazers charged all the way back, briefly took the lead by 1, but couldn't score when it mattered, and gave up a steal and a bad free throw to lose the lead, and that was that. Shaden Sharp had an okay game, but turned the ball over too much. Danny struggled, and the Blazers, playing without Jeremy Grant and without any NBA point guards, are just not good enough to hang with the best team in the East.
Where are all the point guards in the NBA? If the Blazers don't have any, the Mavs we'll talk about. They don't have any. It's like, where are all the point guards? The Pistons are missing one. Like, where are they?
Well, two of them are on the bench, Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard. So that would be nice for them to have.
The IR bench, the hospital bench.
Exactly.
It's Scoot not playing in this game either. He was out. So there's another one that you're missing. But Shaden Sharp, 25 points, did have the eight turnovers, like he said. Are you seeing anything from Shaden Sharp this year?
Yeah, so Shaden's had an interesting season. You know, he's been from just I would say like a raw box plus minus standpoint, or like a raw box, like just the overall box score stats. He's having a good year. Like, you know, he's scoring, you know, he's rebounding, he's, you know, shooting, like whatever. But I think if you compare him to his peers, you know, I put out on Twitter the other day, like maybe a couple weeks ago, just about like some of his scoring and where he is. He's not scoring as well as you would like him to. Like, there's definitely some gaps in his game, you know, the outside shooting, the jump shot stuff. You know, right now he has a 55.6 true shooting, which is about like, it's almost 3% less than league average, which isn't crazy, but, you know, 22, 4-2 this year is also good, just considering where he is in his career. You know, this is his fourth season in the NBA, and he's continuing to get better every single year. I think that this is, if there weren't so many guards in the league, I could see a world in the next couple of years where he's a certified surefire all-star, but he has the athleticism, he has the aggressiveness off the bounce, but it's just such a crowded field. I just don't know if he ever actually gets there, but he's a really good player, and I do think he will be him and Donovan Cunningham and Denny Advia. That is the future of that team, if you ask me.
Interesting. For the future of that team, go listen to Locked On Blazers, Locked On Pistons for more on that game. Coming up, the Cavs have their best offensive game of the season. Maybe they're waking up. The Warriors woke up in the fourth quarter for sure against the Magic and get a win. We'll talk about that and more. Locked On NBA Game Night continues coming up next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. If you knew that the Warriors are going to go on some kind of run like they did in this fourth quarter, you could have gone and bet on it. You could have done all kinds of things with FanDuel. They've got odds coming up right now. There's odds literally changing as I open the website. Hornets, Wizards. If you're watching that game, you deserve to listen to this show every single day. That's what you're all about. Hornets 5.5-point favorite against the Wizards in that game, and literally just changed as I was watching this. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action of the season for the NFL or the NBA, visit FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Game Night, being part of the show, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. We have a daily show that covers your favorite team. Talk about Pistons and Blazers. I cover Locked On Mavs. You do Locked On Nuggets, Swipa, and the link is in the description to find those shows as well. All right, Swipa, we're talking about the games of the night. Let's do this one real quick. The Cavs get a win against the Charlotte Hornets, and 139 to 132. The defense was optional in a game like this. But let's hear from Danny Cunningham of Locked On Cavs on how they got this win.
Danny Cunningham here at Rocket Arena after the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Charlotte Hornets 139 to 132. There is once again a high school basketball game going on the floor right now, so I'm going to walk the concourse and talk to you about a win that the Cavs very badly needed. Offensively, they looked awesome. This was maybe their best offensive game of the season. I don't think it is coincidental that they got Sam Merrill back from a month-long absence because of a hand injury in this game. Now, he didn't make any threes, but the Cavs did. They hit 24 threes, which is a season high. They had been, since Merrill left the lineup on November 17th, the 30th ranked three-point shooting team. That is a big reason why they have struggled. It's not their only problem, far from it, but I think it's been one of the biggest problems they've had, and that seemed like it just came all the way back on Monday night in this game. I thought Donovan Mitchell was pretty good. Darius Garland was awesome. DeAndre Hunter had the best game that he's had in quite some time. So overall, this is a nice win for the Cavs. It's not something to plan a parade about. It's not something to over-celebrate. It's a step in the right direction, and what is important is that the Cavs build on this. They play again on Tuesday against New Orleans. Pelicans have been hot lately. It's a game the Cavs should win. If they do find a way to win, then I think you can start to feel a little bit better about this team as they head into a Christmas Day showdown in New York against the Knicks. But before that, I'll talk to you tomorrow after the Cavs take on the Pelicans.
Go listen to Locked On Cavs for more on that. The Cavs go on this 15-3 run in the third quarter and basically never looked back. 6 minutes left In the third, it was 83-82. The diff was 1 at that point, Swipa. And then 250, Cavs were up 98-85, and the diff was 13. That was a big run. And the Hornets just had this whole bench unit out there for the most part, and they just got torched.
Yeah, side note, I do want to say that even though the look of the Cavs on the floor with that floor and those jerseys was pristine today, and I thought that the Hornets jersey popped on it really well, so it's actually like a very aesthetically pleasing game for me.
You like the yellow burst coming out of the paint?
I just think it looks good. It looks like, what was Will Ferrell's team name on Tropic Thunder? Do you remember? Were they in Tropic Thunder?
Yes.
Yeah,
no, not Tropic Thunder.
Not Tropic Thunder.
Oh,
whatever it's called. Like, that's what it reminded me of. It's just like I feel like I'm watching
semi-pro.
Movie. Yeah, semi-pro.
The Flint Tropics.
Yeah, the Flint Tropics. Yeah, that's
Thunder.
what it looked like. It was really it looks good though. Like, they did a great job with the court design. But look, shout out to the Cavs, man. Like, I have people asking me, like, hey, are the Cavs finished? Are they cooked? I just don't think so. I don't think you can you can be 64 wins good and then be trash the very next year. That's just not the way it was going to work for them. I always thought that once they got Garland back and Lonzo, you just get used to playing with your team. Their offense will get back to where it needs to be. Like, right now, like, I think it's just been an adjustment period for everybody. Tonight, they played really well, and they responded to a really good offensive performance from the Charlotte Hornets on the other end as well. So this is a really good game, really good all-around game. Donovan Mitchell has been amazing so far this year. I personally, as a Darius Garland fan, am glad that he's getting back to his normal ways. He made 5 threes tonight as well, 10 assists, 27 points. He looked good. He looked fluid. He looked healthy. That, for me, is the most important part. Evan Mobley, obviously, is out.
Yeah.
So they need to get Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, and they need to get Lonzo Ball and DeAndre Hunter on the same page, learning how to play together. And then they can move forward from that and just continue to go from there and win games in the East. By the way, on the other end, Cunningham, he is the fastest player ever to 100 threes. Fastest in NBA history.
5 tonight.
It took him 29 games to get to 100 threes. That's a madman. If Cooper Flag wasn't going like absolutely bonkers right now, he probably would be Rookie of the Year, but he's probably not going to because Cooper he's insane. But what a great rookie, man. You get 20 points out of him today. Like, again, the team didn't perform well, especially the starters, because the bench lineup was actually working better for them today. And shout out to somebody who doesn't get any conversation anywhere, but Moussa Diabate is a good player. And so he played well tonight. But yeah, just really great performance by Cunningham, man. Like, I can't say enough how the kids played to start the year off.
Incredible shooting. I mean, you talk about a difference between two rookies. Cooper Flag can't hit a three. Did actually hit one tonight, but can't hit threes at all. And Cunningham can't miss the threes, basically.
Yeah.
Huge for the Cavs. 23 of 44 from three. They shot 54%. You barely ever lose as an NBA team if you do that. Cavs are 5-2 and they shoot over 40% from three. The number there that stands out to me is only 7 times so far they've shot over 40% from three. Last year, they were 31-4. Like half of their games, they were shooting over 40%. Yeah. And so that's been a massive difference for them. Real quick, we play Count It Up here. We count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. Count it up. Thomas Bryant tripped in the open court while doing the too small right after he scored over Cunningham. Should Thomas Bryant be banned from doing the too small? Like, should coach come up to him and be like, hey,
look,
listen,
I don't want to be that guy.
Be like, you know what?
Yeah, your role isn't big enough for you to be doing celebrations anyway. Look, have fun in the league, but if you're going to celebrate, please don't embarrass yourself. That was insane. When
do you unlock the emotes? At what point? Like, do you have to average a certain amount of minutes?
No, I just think you got to look, I don't want to police that either because if you play in the NBA, you score in the NBA, make a play, celebrate. But a too small as a center versus a non-center,
yeah,
that's just kind of crazy to me. And then you trip over yourself. He's already kind of like this on the floor anyway, so it all just made it worse.
Oh, it was great. Go watch the clip. That's incredible. Go also listen to Locked On Hornets and Locked On Cavs for more on that. The Warriors. It was 84-83. Warriors up by 1. With a minute 26 left in the third quarter, and then 7:53 left in the fourth quarter, the Warriors were up by 19. Let's hear from Chuck Walter from Locked On Warriors and how they got this win.
120-97 Warriors, and they give the Magic a little taste of their own medicine. Orlando's huge. Orlando's good in the paint. Orlando gets to the free throw line, and the Warriors had no issues with that size today. In fact, Golden State started off 3 of 20 from deep. They couldn't hit anything. Yet they had the 1-point lead at halftime. And the reason they had the lead is because they were doing damage inside the paint. They were penetrating. They were scoring around the basket. They were really just assisting all baskets, it felt like. And you knew that at some point the shots were going to start falling. And it was Steph Curry in the third quarter. It was Moses Moody in the fourth quarter. It was Brandon Podziemski throughout. Those dudes, Curry 26, Butler 21, Moody 20, Podziemski 16, were the reason the Warriors were able to cruise to a victory in a game that I guess was a little closer than the scoreboard indicated. Warriors winning by 23. It was a 1-point game at halftime, and with like 8 minutes left, it was, within 6 points or whatever. But hey, you'll take a W. 15-15 to the Dubs. Next up, Klay Thompson. The Dallas Mavericks are coming to town. We'll see you on Locked On Warriors.
That's right. Merry Christmas, Chuck. The Magic is what I actually want to focus on this side, because they had a stretch about 7 minutes during that run that I just talked about where they did not score a field goal from 3:47 in the third quarter to 8:47 in the fourth quarter. Did not score a field goal. Franz Wagner was not in this game. Suggs did not play in this game either. And sometimes I'm worried about this Magic offense. It felt like they reverted back to last year, because they've been top 15 in offense this year after not being top 20 for 20 years, it felt like, in a row. I'm a little worried about this Orlando offense sometimes. It gets bogged down.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of their issues will stem from their shooting. That's going to be the conversation about them constantly this year. But shout out to the Magic. They're like not terrible, from three this year. They're like actually shooting like, I would say fairly well relative to kind of the stuff they did last year. They were 34% this year. So, 32% last year or whatever else it was. Like, whatever, like they're trying to move up. They're trying to get better. A lot of this with them is like this West Coast trip they're on is pretty grueling, especially since they're coming from Florida. Then they're having to play versus Denver, versus the Warriors. These are all different type of offenses. So
did you see the stat they put up during the broadcast? I think it was the Warriors side of the broadcast. I was watching this, that they have the Magic have the most miles traveled scheduled. It's like 55,000 miles, because they also have like a London trip. Like they're traveling all the time. Yeah,
that's a lot to deal with. And so you're just not always going to have the best performances, especially when you're dealing with that. That's something that's never taken into account when you're talking about teams and what they're dealing with from an adversity standpoint. But shout out to them, man. Like, they're still a really good team. Dunks and threes right now, they're third in defense, even after tonight. So they're like doing good things, and they're performing well, and like they're 11th in offense on dunks and threes. So they're a good basketball team. I think a lot of this is just without Franz, they're just always going to have to continue to try to find ways to manufacture points. On some nights it's Anthony Black, on some nights it's Wendell Carter Jr., on some nights, Jace Richardson, it's obviously somebody that's like still trying to kind of figure out like their role in the league, but like they're also looking to him to maybe make some improvements as the year goes on. Tyus Jones, I know, is somebody they're looking for point guard distribution, but he also is just like not super good, not great right now. But I mean, Paolo, Desmond Bane, Anthony Black, I think they stepped in, they performed the roles of the offensive stuff, but their defense just kind of bogged down and discombobulated as the night went on, especially when that ended that third quarter into the fourth. So I do think that this is a really good team, and I'm hopeful for them that could be a conference finals team this year. But some of this is just they don't have all of their guys, and I think that's really affecting them right now.
We had such high hopes for them, and high hopes for Paolo too. I mean, but he's down in scoring this year. His percentages of shooting percentages are all down. Real quick, something or nothing. Count it up. Magic are 9-10 when Paolo Banchero plays. Something or nothing.
Nothing. I've been listening to people try to, not you, but just people in general, try to make like such a deal about like Paolo this year with his team, and are they better with him? Are they better without him? But if you just look at like even just the on-off stuff with Paolo, like, they're a plus 0.2 with him, but that's changed in the last few weeks. Well, they've also played some really good teams. They played the Warriors. They got drum rolled today. They played Denver. They got beat. Paulo just had a 26-point triple-double the other day as well. Like they need to get better with both of them. Like, they need to continue to improve with both of their players. But it feels like JT and JB and with Boston and kind of had an early dialogue about, okay, well, whose team is it? I think it's both their teams.
It's like if both of them couldn't shoot, though. Like that's the Magic problem that they're kind of running into. Coming up, let's get into the Pelicans. They're on a roll right now. A roll. The Pelicans. Do they have life? Talk about that and more coming up. Locked On NBA Game Night continues. Coming up next. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work just as hard as you do, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood's Legends Advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Now expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. It's your money, your move.
Big chicken, baby.
I think a lot. I'm very smart.
Take that for that.
Count it up, count it up, count it up, count it up, count it up.
It's Counted Up. We count on the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. The Pelicans are kind of a fun thing in the NBA, something I didn't think we'd be saying towards the beginning of the season when they were just brutal. But let's hear from Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans, how the Pelicans beat the Dallas Mavericks.
That's 5 in a row for the Pelicans as they beat the Dallas Mavericks 119-113. This is a different Pelicans team, y'all. I'm Jake Madison, host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast. This was a pretty tremendous effort from New Orleans. They looked good in the first quarter, looked real bad in the second and third, and then in the fourth quarter got a spark from Jordan Poole in this one, who struggled in the beginning of the game and then was the catalyst. And then once this team started rolling, they built some momentum, and Zion Williamson closed it out off the bench again. 24 points for the Pelicans in 25 minutes of action. He was unstoppable down the stretch, being the closer, the leader that the Pelicans have looked for him to be kind of his whole career. The catalyst in Jordan Poole is why you sign a guy like that, to kind of give you that run. You got the full Jordan Poole experience. There's some weird shot attempts, but then he sparks you being that microwave scorer off the bench, and it works. You also had a tremendous game from Derek Queen, 19 points, 11 rebounds from him, as the Pelicans really just kind of limited guys like Cooper Flagg, who had a really off night in this one. Got it going from Anthony Davis, but they limited him in the fourth quarter. Did what they needed to do to get a win. That's 5 in a row, and this looks like a different Pelicans team. I got more over at the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
It absolutely looks like a different Pelicans team. Derek Queen running their offense, Zion Williamson closing it out. That was absolutely massive. Swipa, between these two teams, which one do you believe in more for the rest of the season? The Mavs, the Pelicans?
That's a crazy question, Nick. It has to be the Mavericks. But I do want to give credit. The Pelicans, they're 5-0, by the way, in the last 5, obviously. Yep. But for the audience, they're also top 6 in net rating right now, like in the last 5 games when they're 6 in defense. So shout out. They're playing defense. They're doing things that I think a lot of people just didn't expect them to do. Derek Queen's been playing amazing. But yeah, it has to be the Mavericks. The Mavericks have older veteran players that just have all been in the NBA, that have played in championships and played in playoff games outside of Cooper Flagg and Ryan Nembhard. So
you think those players will still be on the team by the end of the season?
Anthony Davis, and are you of the mindset he's traded?
Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, Daniel
Are
Gafford?
You saying they're traded? Are you of the mind they're going to be traded?
I'm just saying there are whispers, there are things.
Yeah, I've talked to people about this. I think it would be great for them to trade Anthony Davis. I also know there are a lot of people that are saying, well, the whole point was to have AD with Kyrie in this roster, so wait until Kyrie comes back.
We've seen one half of it, the Houston half, that is just a bit, basically.
So you're over it. You're like, I don't really care to see it.
I would like to see it, personally, as a fan. As a person, I would like to see it. I think functionally, this is the Mavs' last chance with a draft pick for the next 5 years. I think they should move on. The Anthony Davis contract is crazy the next 2 years, and he's extension eligible this offseason. And I think Clutch is not going to mess around with that.
Yeah, let me ask you directly, because I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this. I talked to this on the Player's Choice the other day.
Yeah.
It's a 4-year, $275. He's not taking anything less. You're saying you're not doing it.
You can't be paying Anthony Davis $70 million when he's turning 37, right?
Well, I agree with you. Anthony Davis doesn't agree with you. So
of course not.
So you're saying he's gone.
There's no way. I cannot imagine that, because when he'll be making $72 million when Cooper Flagg's eligible for his rookie extension. That's awful. That would be cap hell basically for the Mavericks.
Okay, so
the Nuggets get a win against the Utah Jazz. We got 3 games left. The Nuggets get a win against the Utah Jazz, and man, the bench I thought showed up for the Nuggets. Scale of 0 to 5. How much more confident are you in the Nuggets' depth this year?
Oh, from last year?
Yeah.
5. Yeah, not even close. Just not even the same realm of possibility. The fact is, the Nuggets are bringing a player that was getting 31 minutes a game for the Detroit Pistons off the bench this year. By the way, the Nuggets became just the 7th team in NBA history to have 3 players make 6 or more threes in a game. 3 of them: Cam Johnson 6 of 6, Jamal Murray 6 of 12, and Tim Hardaway Jr. 6 of 11. Him and Jonas Valanciunas off the bench have made this team legitimately scary. They're on pace to win 60 plus games this year, and a lot of that has to do with when Jokic goes to the bench. Valanciunas gave you 12 and 11 today, and he's on the season maybe the best backup big in the NBA. I'll have to think through the rest of the list, but he's one of them at least. Is that functionally has changed how good the team is.
Absolutely. It's wild to watch them and how different it is. And to put like a guy like Peyton Watson starting lineup, gave you 20 points. Spencer Jones is giving some valuable minutes, I think, so far this season. The Celtics have gotten some valuable minutes from a lot of randos so far this season. Jordan Walsh, one of them, he missed this game, but they get a win against the Pacers. Let's hear from John Corrales. Maybe it'll be the best win of the season.
Boston Celtics get a really fun win here at TD Garden. I'm John Corrales of the Locked On Celtics podcast. They looked bad for a lot of this game. They were down by 20 early in the third quarter. They had just given up 3 offensive rebounds. Joe Mazzulla called timeout, had enough. He subbed out all of his starters, put in the bench, and the game completely flipped. Luka Garza giving them second chances. The Celtics dominated second chances. Hugo Gonzalez was incredible again. Rookie energy. He just was all over the floor making all kinds of defensive plays. And they went off on a massive run to get it to single digits late in the third quarter and then take the lead in the fourth. It was a lot of just hustle and energy and all of that. Jaylen Brown came back and dominated the fourth quarter. The Celtics benefited from some shooting variance where the Pacers were 12 of 20 in the first half and 1 of 20 in the second half. That helped, and the Celtics started making their shots. All in all, this is a fun one for the Celtics.
John Corrales calling from inside the club. Let's hear from Tony East, who is in a much quieter area.
Who's to the Celtics 103-95 in Boston. Tony East here with Locked On Pacers. Whew. That's tough for the Pacers. They're up 20 multiple times in this game. They made 12 of their 23s in the first half. Were riding a high, looked good, had the energy, had the momentum. Then they made 1 of their 23s in the second half of this game en route to blowing that 20-point lead. Jaylen Brown was hard to stop for the Pacers. Their defense, though, was largely okay for most of the game. Consistent-ish effort. It was not great in crunch time, but mostly their shooting and offense just evaporated. Their lowest effective field goal percentage in a half this season. In fact, the lowest of any team in a half this season. You can't win that way. You can't win shooting that poorly, even with a very good scoring first half. Pascal Siakam with 25 points was quite good. Pacers keep tinkering with their lineups, but they lose Isaiah Jackson injury. They stopped remembering how to shoot the ball. The Celtics kept fighting, playing their game, stuck with it, and got it done. We'll have much more on Locked On Pacers.
They shot 1 for 20 in the second half and 3, and 12 of 44 from the field.
They were 12 of 20 in the first half and 1 for 20 in the second half. Talk about variance. They both mentioned that. Oh,
yo, that's crazy.
That's disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, the Thunder are disgusting as a team. Just absolutely insane. They sit Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Jalen Williams, Jay Will, their other center, in this game. They start Brandon Carlson, and they still get a win against the Grizzlies. My first quick question here for you. How many players would the Thunder have to sit before you're like, all right, maybe the other team may have a chance here?
Well, they can play all of them. They play a really good team. Then they've been prone to lose some of those games this year. So
their schedule is really soft.
But shout out SGA. I think he deserves real credit today because they were only up 4 with like 4 minutes left. And then he made a step back 3. And then he proceeded then to make an off the glass pass to himself out to Carlson for a 3 that put him up 10. And then J-Dub made like some up and under layup thingamajiggy. And then, the game was out of board. So really SGA got them started. He had almost a triple-double today at 31 points too.
That's a closer. That's a closer right there. On the Grizzlies side of it, real quick.
Count it up.
Jaren Jackson Jr. No centers for the Thunder, basically. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 31 minutes, 2 of 8 from the field. No Ja Morant, No Zach Edey, no Brandon Clark, no Ty Jerome, no John Conchar, no Scottie Pippen Jr., no Vince Williams. Like, you're just, at this point, what are we doing with this Jaren Jackson Jr. season?
I like Jaren a lot. I just think that when it comes to these kind of teams and games, man, he is just there's just something not there, brother. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, he just doesn't, he's missing something. You would hope that in games like this he would dominate, but he's not really he's not a big like
dominate or even just take more than 8 shots.
Yeah.
Jalen Wells took 16. Santi Aldama took 13. Santi Aldama's gonna I'm taking shots. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna get the ball, drive, and run.
Yeah.
Cedric Coward took more shots and he played less.
Jaren almost made an All-NBA team for me last year, and then immediately once he started playing in the first round versus the Thunder, I was like, man, like, never mind. Like, that's just he doesn't have it versus the Thunder.
It's tough. Go listen to Locked On Grizzlies on that, Locked On Thunder. All these great shows, links in the description to find all of them. And you'll have Locked On NBA Daily with Matt Hayes and Wes. All kinds of good stuff there. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA Game Night.